Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for coming today to our workshop for teachers and school librarians. Lovely to see so many of you here. And what I'd like to do is go through a little bit of a background on me first, and then we'll go through the booklet that you've been given. So I was a teacher in primary school, various primary schools for many years, and then in secondary schools teaching drama and English. And now I run my own tutoring business, Lighthouse Learning, and have several students who come along, and we do Zoom lessons and some face-to-face now after COVID. Okay, so Paper Boats and Butterflies. We published this in 2019. This is my first book. I've been writing for a few years off and on, and finally got this published. And then book 2 came out last year, and book 3 is going to come out later in the year. I wanted to create a package, a whole package for schools that was very easily accessible for teachers, that was adaptable. So there are PowerPoints that can be changed and moved around so that they are appropriate for your children, your classes. I also wanted to make it cost effective, and we'll talk about that later. But as a teacher, I know that schools don't have an awful lot of money in their pots. And so taking on a new book for students to read can be quite expensive. So I wanted to make this cost effective. I also wanted to make it challenging for all students. And there are some differentiated activities in there, but I've left it loosely so that you can add more things for your lower ability students and your more able. And also I wanted to make it fun, because in the book it is quite dark in places and it's quite serious, but there are some fun elements. And I always think that to learn, children should be enjoying it, and it should be enjoyable and interesting to get them really thinking. So, what I'd like to do is to go through the booklet, which I have put down somewhere. Here we go. So, yes, so those are the titles there on the front. Unfolding the Truth, book 1, True Tears, and then Igniting the Truth is the third book coming out later this year. So as you can see on the cover, it is set in 2015. It has dystopian touches and explores nature and nurture. So at the beginning of the novel, we meet two girls, Z89, who is bombarded by rats and giant spiders, and then in complete contrast, Erin, who is seen arguing with her parents. Erin often gets into trouble at school and feels her parents favour her brother Malachi. So, very brief little summary there. But as you can see, our main protagonists are girls. They are aged 15, well, they're 14 at the very beginning and turn 15. So they are of the age that is relevant for your students. And then there's some contact details there of me. So if you turn to the second page, these are some testimonials from Biddenham International School and Sports College. Now they have used the book and the scheme of work, and they did it last autumn. And they really enjoyed it. As you can see, some fantastic comments. And because of COVID stopping me from going into the school itself, I have spoken to students online, and that's gone very, very well. We also have a question and answer recording that's available on the website, And so they looked at that as well. And they have done 500-word stories using my book as inspiration, and then there was a competition, and I'll be doing an online presentation of prizes to them in a week or two's time. So that I'm looking forward to. So yes, read that at your leisure. And then the next few pages cover the sort of themes and symbolism that are in the novels. So the main themes, as you can see, are nature and nurture, loss, love, deception and trust and family. And all of those themes come in and out, and they're woven in and out of the 3 books. I also have several references, because I've done a lot of research for these books. I did a lot of research about psychology, about twins, and the sort of experiments that Mengele carried out, which were horrendous. But there are still sort of experiments being carried out on twins as we speak, because you have 2 people who are exactly the same in so many scientific ways, physical, mental and all sorts. So they are still doing various tests using twins. Right at the beginning we have a reference to Room 101, George Orwell from 1984. And yes, we have a teacher here whose phone has just gone off. See me after school. Also in book 1, Z89 is sent to the Garden of Perception, and I base that on a place I've not visited. I'd really like to go and visit this. It's the Garden of Exile in Berlin. And it's in the Jewish Museum, and it's built so that it psychologically affects you. It makes you feel entrapped, makes you feel isolated and things like that. So I found that really quite fascinating. So there is sort of things based on various things there. And religion and historical facts are developed further through the 3 books. So there are various references, but I'm not going to tell you that, because otherwise I'll tell you the ending of book 3. Colour is very important. Obviously there are different aspects for colours, but I've used a lot of these. Colours are the uniforms for different people. The children in the school have uniforms of different colours. And names as well. Not all of my characters have, names that have meanings particularly, but there are some that I chose particularly with the main characters there. And then moving on, symbolism. This is all on my website as well, and this is within the first lesson and comes in and out of the scheme of work as well. So quite a lot of detail here, but looking at butterflies and paper boats and skulls and so on. So again, look at that in your leisure. What else? So what we offer, and I'll go through the scheme of work in a minute, we offer resources for each lesson. And these are all in your booklet, so they're there ready to be photocopied. A comprehensive plan. There are PowerPoints, as I've said, which can be adapted. There are also recordings on YouTube that you can watch. That is of myself reading the book. And I know Biddenham School found that really very interesting. They use that for their media study section of their scheme. There are some free resources on the website as well, and the question and answer recording. So in the booklet, a little bit of background, and then if you go on, you've got an overview. I always found as a teacher it's very useful to have an overview, something where you can see what's going to happen week by week. And as you can see, we cover reading, writing, speaking and listening. So there are debates, speeches, letter writing, creative writing and so on. So there's a wide range of activities. And then moving on to the learning objectives and main activities, little bit more detail. So for example, lesson 1, we have our learning objectives: to predict the subject of a novel by using clues, to understand the use of symbolism in a novel. And as I said, you can adapt these PowerPoints to how your school teaches your lessons. If you don't use learning objectives and you use it in a different term, you can change things on there. There are worksheets and various other things, and I'll go through that with you in a minute. So there are 18 actual lessons, goes right up to cover for 6 weeks in a term, and that would be 3 lessons a week. Now, each lesson you would read a different chapter. Some schools I know prefer to read for a whole lesson and then do the tasks in the other 2 lessons perhaps each week. So this is, again, why it's adaptable. The last few lessons are optional because obviously you might be doing assessments and things, so there's some drama, playwriting and things at the back. Now if you turn to the very back page of your booklet, you will see that you've got the slides for the first PowerPoint. So to give you an idea of what the PowerPoints look like. And you will be covering various things, looking at the symbolism, looking at the book cover, and there is an analysis sheet, and you can look at various uses of the symbolism. So, sorry to make you keep turning pages over. So if you look at page 11, there we have the worksheet. So the children can write around the image of the book cover, putting comments on there of what they see, what they think is going on. And then the second worksheet, or the back of the worksheet, there are various questions, and you also study the blurb at the back of the book. So you would have the blurb. So in actual fact, you could do this scheme of work with just one teacher copy of the book and the scheme of work and the resources, and you follow the YouTube recordings with me reading the stories. So there, it's really, a reasonable price. The books are £5 each. So if each class teacher had one, you could do that quite easily. The other activity in lesson 1 is something that I've done in the past with students. And here you've got the paper boat illustration and the butterfly illustration. And what I would imagine is you could have it as the sheet, and they stick it in their book, and as these are mentioned through the book, they add to it. So each lesson you might say, have you come across anything about butterflies, or any comment about the paper boat or boats? So they would write anything in there, and they could write the quote from the book. So that's quite a fun activity that can continue right through. Or you can cut them out, stick them on one page, on a double page, so they've got lots of space to write the ideas. Yes, so as you can see, lots and lots of resources there, using P, point, evidence, explain. There are concept maps, looking at extracts, making a paper boat. I think that's my most fun lesson, where they have to make a paper boat and they write a story inside it and then fold it all up. Just like Z89, she writes things and hides her paper boats in her school. So the whole scheme is available to download from the website, and it's also on TESS as well, and it's only £15. That will give you all the PowerPoints and all the resources. You can order books from the website or from Amazon, £5 each. And we also offer school visits, face-to-face or online, free of charge for that. And we also offer writing workshops at £35 an hour. And that's everything really. So if anybody's got any questions, then I'll open it up to see what anybody would like to ask. Thank you very much for listening and for being here today. Really appreciate it. So, any questions?
What inspired you to write the book, Sue?
Oh, that's a good question. A few years ago, we visited Scotland, and we went to an underground nuclear bunker that you had to go into a farmhouse to get into it, and nobody knew it was there until quite recently, and that got my brain ticking away, and I started thinking there could be all sorts of things underground that nobody knows about. Obviously now it's been decommissioned and it's a museum and you can go in and it's an amazing place. But that sort of got my mind working. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. That's brilliant. Thank you. Really enjoyed it.
Lovely. Thank you. Anybody else got any questions? Yes.
Can the scheme of work be used for private tuition as well?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yes, in fact, I have done that myself with Year 8 and Year 9 students tutoring, and I've done it face-to-face and online, and that's gone very, very well. Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I have an observation that it seems to me as though the scheme of work would be really useful for children perhaps who aren't so engaged in reading and who haven't got that love of literature. So because of the wider scheme of work you've got, there's something for everybody in there.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I was aiming for. So yeah, that's a really good observation there. Thank you for that. That was what I was trying to do, and I have had some very positive feedback from students who've read it, who have said, I'm not a great reader, I don't particularly like reading, but I really enjoyed this. So yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, well thank you everybody for coming, and yeah, help yourselves to tea and coffee and cakes and whatever, and do come and have a little look at what we've got on sale today as well. Thank you very much.